the Ron and Brian podcast. Get ready to fill your ears with the latest news, politics, current events, and whatever else we feel like talking about this week. And now, your hosts, Ron and Brian.
And good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night. It is 8 o'clock. It is time for episode 229 of the Ron and Brian podcast. Brian, welcome to you, my friend. How are you this evening?
Doing wonderful, Ron. Doing absolutely wonderful. It is Sunday night. I'm ignoring the fact that the Yankees are down 3-0 in the American League Championship Series. Normally, that would have me crushed emotionally, spiritually, financially.
Yeah, those are many ways to be crushed. Still repping the Yankees cap tonight, probably for the last time this season. Not feeling too confident about them coming away with a win tonight, especially with the way they seem to have left their bats in the clubhouse in the last few games.
I think this is just, I know you had said that we wanted to save the Yankee talk for our sports section. I know it's one of your favorites when we just talk, do a sports episode. You were hoping to do it this week. I'm not sure. But I just feel this is just a true example of how the Yankees are built to destroy third-tier pitching, second-rate teams. But when it comes to taking on a elite pitching staff, the Yankees just cannot compete.
Correct. But congratulations going out to the Philadelphia Phillies, knocking off the San Diego Padres in 5 games. So they, and not the Yankees, will be heading to the World Series. Quite unexpected. But I think, again, it's a perfect example of a team getting hot in the right half of the season. Yankees were the best team in baseball in the first half of the season. Doesn't mean anything. Phillies managed to make it into the playoffs on the last day of the season, and now they've gone on a run, and they'll be in the.
They're a third place team, which is to me the thing that makes playoff baseball so just so great. Is that it is not about who played well in April and May. It is who plays the best in October, and right now, that is your Philadelphia Phillies.
It is. So now, moving forward, we will obviously have to root for the Phillies because I don't think I can find it in myself to root for the Houston Astros.
Oh, no. Yeah, you have to root for the Phillies at that point. In
Yeah.
fact, I may ask you to buy me some type of Phillies gear to send me up so I can wear it proudly during. No, I'm just kidding. I will not. I cannot do that. I will wear Yankee stuff. I will not wear the merchandise of any other team.
And that's fair. I appreciate that about you and respect it. God damn it. All right. Well, let's get into things. As always, let's start off with Drink of the Week.
Drink of the Week.
Na zdrowie.
Salud.
Drink of the Week.
Crunch it.
Pause.
Drink of the week, drink of the week, drink of the week, drink of the week.
Brian, what is it that you are drinking this week? Ooh.
Ron, I have brought to the table just something that just warms me from the top of my head to the bottom of my toes. We are looking at Left Blonde. It's an authentic blonde Abbey Ale beer with a slight hint of bitterness to it. It's delicate but characteristic. Left Blonde is the tasting beer par excellence. It gives an extra touch of flavor to simple dishes, lightly accompanies your fried foods, and it is an amazing accompaniment to doing your live podcast. The aroma, floral and spicy with notes of vanilla and cloves. The taste, the strong malty aroma of Left Blonde reveals a sweet bitterness in a perfect harmony with notes of vanilla and clove, coming in with an alcohol content of 6.6 ABV. Ron, Left Blonde is my drink of the week.
That is a solid beer. Is it Left or Leffe? Because you kept switching from one to the other during that.
No, it's Left.
All right.
Absolutely Left. The second E is silent just like at the end of ball, B-A-L-L-E. You pronounce that ball.
Sure,
Therefore,
sure.
it's left.
How is the beer, though? Talk to me.
Oh, it's absolutely delicious.
Okay.
Absolutely delicious.
Have another sip. Enjoy. Enjoy, my friend.
This is what I would describe it as a complex beer. There's a lot going on at the same time, but not too much.
Okay.
I saw at the store today they had something some kind of nitro, and I was going to order it. I was going to sit there and be like, I'll take a 6-pack of that. And then I was just like, absolutely not. I will not spend $24.99 on a 6-pack of beer.
Oh, that's those New York City beer prices. I don't know what to tell you.
Ron,
Yes.
what are you drinking today?
Well, Brian, it is fall. It is October 23rd. So you know what that means, Brian. It means
Pumpkin beer.
that we are blowing straight past Halloween and Thanksgiving, and it is all about Christmas now. And that's right, not the holidays. We are an American podcast, and here we wish you Merry Christmas. And because of that, we're again going local with Fegley's out of Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and their Rude Elves Reserve beer. This is a Belgian-style ale brewed with spices, family-run, urban-made, and fiercely independent, they like to say. And this is clocking in, Brian, at a 10.5%. Did not realize it was that heavy in alcohol content before pulling it up, but look at that. I think it's probably their take on almost like the Mad Elf style from Trogue. So let's have a little sip here.
That is a nice deep color. I expect to be hearing F-bombs from you in After Dark.
Oh yeah, no, I'll be cursing up a storm once this hits. It's almost fruity in a way. Like it's got a lot of it's got spices, but you get like a cranberry aftertaste to it. Very good. So that is Rude Elf's Reserve from our good friends at Fegley's in Pottstown, PA. So pumpkin beers gone by the wayside. Now it's all Christmas-themed beers moving forward. Not Halloween.
Love it. I absolutely love it, Ron.
All right. As long as you love it, Brian. That's really all.
I have a question. Why do you hate Thanksgiving so much?
I don't hate Thanksgiving, actually, but it's just, it seems like we in this country move past holidays extremely quickly. And I think Halloween, very popular. People like Thanksgiving, don't get me wrong. But once you get past Halloween, I think people don't give a shit about Thanksgiving anymore. They want gifts. They want presents. They want the Christmas season.
And then I'm going to have to ask you why you absolutely have such a hatred for the veterans, because in that whole speech, not once did you mention Veterans Day, the first Monday in November, where we Americans pay homage to all of the men and women who have volunteered or been drafted over the years into the armed forces, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard, the National Guard.
Okay, keep going.
I think
This has gotta stop.
All right. Well, Brian, you find me a Veterans Day themed beer, and I will be glad to drink that. And thank you, William, for correcting Brian as always. I did not think Veterans Day was the first Monday of the month. It is actually Friday, November 11th, Brian. So a little correction.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say this. William Esquire is reporting what day New Jersey celebrates Veterans Day.
Oh, right.
We all know that the industrial waste that's being pumped out off the New Jersey Turnpike, that actually has stunted the growth and the brains of most residents of New Jersey, both North Jersey and South Jersey. So they celebrate Veterans Day 1 week late.
Makes sense. Just absolutely makes sense. All right. Well, then find me that beer, Brian, and I'll drink it. That's all I'm saying.
I like beer.
What's that?
Liked beer?
All right. And let's keep it rolling. It's time for Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, what's bothering you this week?
Bryce Harper.
Really?
Bryce Harper.
Why is that?
Bryce Harper put me in a terrible mood for a solid 20 minutes this evening. I had a $75 wager on the San Diego Padres getting 1.4 to 1, which means I probably would have won about $130
Yep.
had he not hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the eighth. Instead, I lost $75. So therefore, with a swing of $200, I am now out money, and fuck Bryce Harper.
Would that be National League Championship Series MVP Bryce Harper that you're referring to, Brian?
Listen, people, let's be honest. I got his name right. That is way past where most people would have had their expectations. I got the guy's name right. Oh, did he piss me off today?
Really? So Reese Hopkins didn't piss you off earlier in the game because he put the Phillies ahead? I mean, what's going on here?
I was okay with that.
Okay.
It was the fact that by the bottom of the eighth, I was counting outs, and I was so pleased that I had picked an underdog. It was going to come in. They'd had the lead for a couple innings. I was feeling good about it.
Okay.
I believe, according to ESPN.com, I had I think they said that the Padres had about a 74% chance of winning the game going into that at bat. Not that I was checking it obsessively.
No, not of course. And I guess you must have felt all right when they got 2 men on in the top of the ninth with 1 out, and then 2 pitches later, the game's over.
Started to feel good, but then it did not happen. So Bryce Harper, you are my beef of the week.
All right, fair enough.
Ron?
Yes.
What's bothering you this week?
This week, Brian, and I guess, my challenge is when I go shopping. It's never a good experience. And today was Costco day, Brian. And I know you enjoy a good Costco trip as much as I do.
I do enjoy a Costco run. Yes.
But I don't know why people move so slowly or poorly through a Costco that it takes much longer than it needs. First off, I'll grant you part of it is Costco's fault because they just put shit everywhere. Like there's no real defined, lines of aisles in the Costco that I go to. And they set up all these, now that the pandemic's over, as we've mentioned repeatedly, the samples are back out. So not only did they stick the sample people in the middle of an aisle, then it gets the bottleneck from the people that stand and eat the samples and have to be like, pretend they're actually going to buy the product for 30 seconds.
Never do.
This is very interesting. I might have to find where in the store this is.
My happiest moments of watching people is when they're giving out the crab dip.
Oh.
And when they're doing the Lindt chocolate balls.
Yep.
That they cut in half and they put into the very tiny little ruffled pieces of paper. Then you literally can go in at the one in Queens. You literally could go like 4 people deep as the person's preparing the crab dip onto little crackers.
Yeah. But what kills me is the people, 2 things. People with the carts that just kind of sit in the middle of an aisle, just doing nothing. And then families that feel the need, however many people are in that family, they need to spread that far apart in the aisle. So if it's 5 people in the family, they have to walk shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
I feel the rule should be like, if you wouldn't do it in a car, don't do it with your shopping cart. Like if you wouldn't look over your shoulder while driving forward, don't do that while pushing a cart. If you wouldn't let your kid run in front of a moving car, don't let them run in front of a moving shopping cart. It just was amazing, Brian. It took significantly longer to get through my Costco today than was necessary.
I will say this. Costco is one of the few places where I get to experience the joy of driving. I take my shopping cart, and as I go through Costco, I will passive aggressively slam my cart into other people's carts, fake apologizing to them that I slammed into their cart or bumped into their actual physical body. If there is a woman in her 60s walking slowly in front of me, I will absolutely bump into her with my cart. I literally will. If I don't apologize 15 times from one single Costco trip, I have done myself a disservice. It's absolutely slamming your cart into someone who is literally just standing in the middle of the row looking off. And preventing you from going either to their left or right. Now, they could move on to one side, but They never do that.
No.
But the one you just mentioned, which I think is truly just an outrage as an American, is the family that goes that goes five wide.
Right.
There's absolutely no need that they all have to experience the same aisle at the same moment.
Right.
They could go 3 and 2 and give somebody else the ability to walk next to them.
There was literally a woman sitting, and her cart was stopped in the middle of the aisle, and there was people around her, and literally a guy in front of me was staring her down, seeing if she was going to move, and she was looking at both of us, realizing that she was blocking us from getting by. Not a care in the world.
No, see, that's when you bump into her. You're like, oh, excuse me, and you literally are just bumping into her left and right. If I may ask, I assume you and Mrs. Ron went?
We did, yes, exactly.
What does Ron and Mrs. Ron get when they go to Costco? What is on there to buy list? Because we know for a fact you take full advantage of your Amazon grocery delivery.
True.
You take full advantage of your Walmart deliveries.
Also true.
So what are the items that you're picking up in person that you want to buy in bulk?
Let's see. Big thing always, cat litter, Brian. You know we've got 6 cats here.
Okay.
They sell cat litter in 42-pound containers. So got to get 3 or 4 of those. That lasts a good month and a half. This time of year, Brian, Duraflame logs. Excellent price on Duraflame logs. Coffee beans. You know, we've got the fancy new coffee maker, so you got to get the big bags of coffee beans. Cereal. I'm a big fan of breakfast cereal.
Really? I never knew you were a big breakfast cereal person.
Yeah. And then I'll get.
Well, you know what? Hold on a second. You are a big breakfast fan because we did go down the wormhole of the Count Choculas and
exactly.
You are. I do remember.
Yeah, and then the meat section is usually good. Like today, you know, it was ground turkey. I got a nice pork loin, bacon. Got to get the bacon. They got the thick cut bacon at Costco.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Freezer or in the meat section?
It's in the cooler section.
Okay.
And then I split it up. I split it up into individual packages, and I freeze them, and I take them out when I need them.
Got it. Now, what does you or your wife? Which is the one that goes with the impulse buys?
I think it depends. Usually, probably more me. Like I came very close to buying that Ninja like ice cream smoothie maker today because I was like, oh, we can get fresh fruit and we can turn it into sorbet. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is just gonna sit in a cabinet. Why would I even do that?
Those things also can't be cheap.
No, that was on sale for like $150, and I'm like, I don't need this. And then I get very
so much. Yeah, you've spent so much more money on Kickstarter items that you never received. At least this one you knew you were going to spend the money and get.
But they had low carb tortillas there today, so that was my excitement at Costco is being able to buy some low carb tortillas to put in the freezer.
I think we
my apologies.
Hit rock
I believe I pronounced them tortillas. My apologies.
Now, is there an E at the end of it? Because don't you pronounce it tortilla E?
Tortilla E?
Tortilla E?
All right. So you weren't so good on baseball betting, Brian, but needless to say, you were as perfect as always with our NFL locks of the week.
Locks.
Brian, if I may, I know you jumped on top of this last week. If I may go first this week and just say congratulations to you. You liked the Raiders -7 versus Houston. Wasn't that close. Vegas wins 38-20. And you were off the Atlanta train after their big win the week before. You said take Cincy -6.5. Again, not even close. Cincinnati wins 35-17, keeping you perfect on the season. So I have nothing to say but congrats.
You know, Ron, 14-0 sounds impressive, but I think the true par of excellence within this podcast is that you also you saw my 14-0 season and you said, you know what, I want a piece of that. What do I have to do? And what did you have to do? You had to see that the Giants were getting 3 points against the Jaguars last week. You said this line looked off to you. You were absolutely correct. Giants not needing the 3 points. Win by 6, 23-17. Also looked at Dallas Cowboys -6.5 with their star quarterback returning, Dak Prescott, over the Detroit Lions. Cowboys win 24-6. Ron, you also take out a 14-0 lead, 7 weeks down in the NFL season. How do you keep doing it?
Listen, I think I figured out this whole Vegas game. I think it's just straight money, homie, moving forward, and I don't anticipate losing ever. No matter what sport it is.
I just think it's one of the things that I've if you read the mentions we're getting on Twitter, so many people are thanking us for saving them from the heavy toil that is the current rate of inflation in America. The number of people that have been reaching out to us on social media saying, "Thank you for your locks of the week. I was able to pay my rent this month. Thank you for your locks of the weeks this month. I was able to help, put through my, my daughter's college tuition this semester."
I mean, we're changing lives here on the Ron and Brian podcast. I think that's safe to say.
We're not calling these, listening to our guts of the week.
No.
We're saying these are our locks of the week, people. 7 weeks in, I'm 14-0. Ron, you are 14-0. This is like the GameStop, shorts. We are helping the migration of money from Las Vegas casinos into the bank accounts of just hardworking, honest Americans.
We're creating generational wealth, is what we're doing, and
absolutely.
So Brian, looking at week 8, who are your locks of the week?
I am loving the Dolphins -3.5 over the Lions. I think the Lions are terrible this year. Also liking Raiders -1 at the Saints. Ron?
Yes.
Who do you like next week?
I like, and again, this may bite me in the ass at some point in the future, but the 6-1 New York Giants continued to be disrespected by being made underdogs against teams with worse records. They are going out to Seattle next week. They are getting 1.5 points. Put your money on the Giants. 2 weeks in a row, I think you can't go wrong. And then similar, Baltimore going to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has been either bad or awful this season, and Baltimore getting 3 points. So take the 2 road dogs, cash them in.
I am a fan of a road dog. Speaking of road dogs, Ron, what are you watching?
What am I watching? I really didn't watch a lot this week. I caught up a bit on House of Dragons. So I think I'm only 1 episode behind. So I know the season finale's tonight, so I need episode 9 and episode 10. Caught up on The Patient. So that has been
What do you
good.
think about The Patient?
I like it. I mean, you're not 100% sure where the story's going to go at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
I'm not sure why the show got so Jewy.
I couldn't tell you.
I just feel like there were so many different aspects where they could have taken the story. Like, I feel like they could have spent more time on the actual therapy sessions. I felt like we could have done more to learn about the backstory of Sam, the serial killer.
Right.
I did enjoy, I am enjoying. I think there's one more episode?
I believe so,
this
yes.
week? I'm enjoying the scenes of the scenes of Steve Carell's character in his mind in therapy. I like that aspect, but I even like the scenes where they tell the backstory of his family. But I didn't feel the need for them to be going into such details about his Jewishness. He's trying to memorize the poem that he's doing for his dead wife, and he's making references to Auschwitz, and it felt like it was just a plot line, or it felt like somebody on the writing staff was just like, we need to educate people on what it's like being Jewish.
Possibly. I mean, don't you think that helps try to put into context his relationship with his family?
I think it could have been done without needing to delve into his religion.
All right, fair enough. Brian?
I think there are plenty of families that where family members have strained relationships for a variety of reasons, and I just felt like this was an opportunity by a Jewish writer to promote his religion.
But what else are you watching, Brian?
Oh, and by the way, I'm actually completely against Kanye West, so I'm not on Team Yay or whatever it is.
Good.
Okay, I watched Nick Kroll's new comedy special on Netflix, Little Big Boy.
Right. How was it? It looked good from the previews.
I'm going to give it about a 6 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah, it's not haha out loud funny. He's not really a stand-up comedian, so he's not really telling jokes. He's telling, he tells about, like I would say maybe 5 or 6 stories
Okay.
that are told in a humorous manner. You chuckle a couple times. There's something likable about him. But overall, I did not. I was expecting more laughs from it. Enjoyable hour, don't get me wrong, which is why I gave it a 6. Also watched Running with the Devil on Netflix.
Oh, is that the John McAfee documentary? How was that?
Yes.
I've been meaning to watch that.
It's an hour and 45. Might be stretched out a little bit. Just glad they didn't make it 5 episodes because the story doesn't really warrant it. But it's basically the story of 2 Vice reporters, actually 1 reporter, 1 videographer, who are basically invited to follow along with John McAfee after he is announced as a suspect in the murder of his neighbor by the Belizean
Sounds right.
authorities.
I'll go with that.
And then they follow him, and it's just it really is a tale of an alcoholic drug user as they just slide into a psychosis-ridden paranoia. Obviously, a lot of it was just how crazy can a man get?
Right. And he got pretty damn crazy from other shows about him that I've seen. So I do want to check this out.
Yeah, definitely entertaining.
Okay.
I would recommend that.
All right, sounds good. Moving into the news now, we've got a ton of stories this week. It was, as always, an unusual week. So a Republican running for Arizona College District's governor's board has quit his campaign after he was caught allegedly masturbating outside of a preschool at one of the colleges he was hoping to represent. This gentleman here, GOP candidate, or former candidate, I guess you can say, Randy Kaufman, on October 4th, he was parked outside the Child Center at Rio Salado College with his pants down to his mid-thigh and, quote, according to a police report, manipulating his genitals in a masturbatory manner. He apparently was in full view of the campus's Wurtzies Preschool and Child Care Center, where several preschool-age children were playing outside. Quote, seriously, the officer said upon finding the Republican playing with himself. I'm sorry, Kaufman allegedly told the officer. I fucked up. I'm really stressed. I don't know about you, Brian. I'm stressed. I feel you're stressed.
Sure.
We find a way not to masturbate outside of a preschool.
No, but you told me you once did it inside of a preschool. I mean, I feel it's pretty close.
No, I think you may have mistaken me for someone else.
Sure about that?
So the story he gives, though, is he was out buying rebar nearby, totally normal thing to do, but was so stressed out that he pulled into the lot to relieve himself without realizing what the lot was for.
Can you give me some relief?
So he admitted that he was masturbating, but he claims he didn't realize that it was right in front of the school.
Apparently he did not, no.
Now, I've never bought in rebar in my life. The idea of inserting huge metal rods inside of poured concrete, really not my thing. It's not what keeps me up at night. I'll be the first to admit. But just the concept that this man's excuse for masturbating in front of a school is that he was stressed out from buying rebar. Might be one of the most ludicrous stories I've heard in a very long time. Now, the real question is how soon until he announces that he's still running?
I don't know. This is interesting because you wouldn't expect this from a GOP candidate, but he admitted to watching interracial porn. So very diverse, more than you would expect. And he also apparently admitted to masturbating in his Ford truck. He tried to get out of the arrest by detailing his relationship with another campus officer. Instead, the officer left all the statements in the record, notified his direct supervisor, and Kaufman has been charged with public sexual indecency, but could also face a felony charge because of his proximity to the child care center.
Getting back to one of the things you mentioned earlier, did he say exactly what interracial pornography he was watching?
I've scoured the other stories about this. I don't believe he has admitted what he was watching.
Was he watching black.com? Was he watching Black Dick White Chick? What was his
Again,
thing?
I unfortunately don't have the level of detail that you were looking for at this point.
I thought he put the officer put all of the references inside the notes. What are you?
He apparently just referred to interracial porn. He did not provide any actual video titles or anything like that. I'm sure you will do your own exhaustive research after this episode is complete.
Oh, Ron. Oh, Ron. I mean, it really is. I mean, the number of examples, and don't get me wrong, under no circumstances am I claiming that Democrats are great people, but the list of holier than thou, sanctimonious Republicans who feel so comfortable getting into a policy agenda of telling other people how to live their lives, who are themselves caught exhibiting atrocious behavior, even behavior that goes against the policies that they claim to stand for.
Right.
To me it continues to expose just the hypocrisy of that party.
Well, again, I think we'll keep an eye and see when he starts to run again, either for this office or another one. You're sure he'll be coming back.
I absolutely know sitting in his drafts on his Twitter account is some kind of post blasting Biden for allowing illegal immigrants to come through our borders. But we'll absolutely not sit there and back down on the idea that that he's masturbating in front of preschool kids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, it's a story we see every week. This one was a little bit of a twist, but it's one we see quite often.
All right. Oh, by the way, I'd like to announce Yankees are not losing yet.
Well, all right. There you go. A story that we don't often see: a grandfather killed in a skydiving accident at his grandson's high school football game. Brian, you've read through this story extensively. Tell us what happened here.
Okay, so you are right now looking at a photo of a dead man. And you're going to say to yourself, who is that dead man? You're looking at a photo of 55-year-old Richard Sheffield, who had been part of a group of paratroopers that traditionally entertained fans before the school's Musket Bowl. This is a Tennessee high school football team. Now, he had over 1,500 jumps to his credit. So he is... So he decides that as part of the festivities for this game, he is going to jump out of a plane to land on the field. Yes, he is a grandfather. And when he landed on the field, as reported by local news, quote unquote, he landed in a hard landing, which is code for his chute didn't operate and deploy properly, because this guy did a couple bumps when he hit the ground. And maybe he did a couple bumps in the air. We don't know. But we're just going to say Richard Sheffield has entered the great paratroopers of the heavens, as he is no longer living on this mortal coil.
All right. This next story, probably one of the more disturbing ones that we have seen. It involves a Texas woman who contracted an STD after a janitor allegedly urinated in her water bottle at work. I believe we've got the mugshot from this gentleman. Let me see if we can find it here. So this is 50-year-old Lucio Diaz. And he has been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for urinating in the bottle. The victim, who hasn't been identified, previously said that she had set up a hidden camera at her office at a medical building and allegedly caught Diaz sticking his penis into her water bottle the previous month. She has filed a civil complaint now. She accuses the owner of the building, the management company, and the janitorial company that employed Diaz of failing to properly vet, train, and supervise him. It seeks over $1 million in monetary relief. Now, to jump back to this training for a moment, Brian, you are in the human resources world, correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you found in the past a necessity to train employees as to not put their penis into other employees' water bottles?
Ron, I'm going to be honest with you and say that actually has never been brought up in conversation.
Okay.
The level of need to explain to potential employees or newly hired employees that inserting their genitalia into the water bottles of coworkers, usually, just from a professional perspective, not the type of thing that one would feel compelled to have to instruct someone not to do when they are starting a new job.
Yeah, you would think that would be given, but so
now, based on the story, I don't know how detailed it goes. Was there any type of history of issues between this gentleman and the plaintiff in the lawsuit, or was he just randomly inserting his penis into other people's water mugs?
So the lawsuit states that the woman said that, she noticed that the water in her office started to smell and taste foul towards the end of August. So then she started bringing her own bottled water from home. If she didn't finish it during the day, she would leave it for the next day, and that's when she noticed that the water in the water bottle also started to smell kind of off too, saying that it looked yellow and reeked of urine. She's
thinking that he was urinating in it? I thought he just put his penis in it.
No, he was urinating in it. She had the water in the bottle tested, and it confirmed that her water contained urine. That was when she set up the hidden camera in her office, which caught him inserting his penis into her water bottle and urinating in it. But the result being she has contracted herpes because of this.
What are the odds that she contracted herpes elsewhere? She was at the local TGI Fridays on a happy hour on a Thursday night. She was drinking oversized margaritas. There was a man, other end of the bar, took her.
You're saying this is a result of Dollarita night?
I would be so afraid to go to a Dollarita night.
I have no answers to that, Brian, and I don't know that I'm going to delve deep into
Do
that.
any of your hotels have any kind of drink specials or things like that at the bar? Or is it pretty much just like, hey, this is...
I mean, there may be some drink specials. I don't believe we're doing Dollaritas anywhere, though.
Off topic here. What is hotel occupancy? Has it returned to pre-pandemic levels or not yet?
Yeah, I would say, the majority of the hotels I work with, they are at or better than 2019 revenue levels. So,
awesome.
I think, obviously if we don't have any relapses in the pandemic or any recessions, I think, 2023 should be a pretty solid year.
Well, unfortunately, we will have a recession, as it was recently announced that there is a 100% chance of a recession.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much.
As it is established that the Federal Reserve will overplay their hand to tame down inflation, causing a recession. Home prices will immediately crumble. Unemployment will spike. Families will be selling their children on the streets to Democratic Hollywood elite pedophiles, and The New York Yankees will be World Series winners.
Well, at least we'll have that going for us, which is nice. Brian, a Massachusetts woman tried to stop an eviction by setting thousands of bees onto law enforcement operators. The woman, Rory Woods, interrupted Hampden County Sheriff's deputies as they enforced an eviction at a home in Longmeadow on October 12th by releasing bees on the officers as she put a beekeeper's suit on. You can see in the photo here a Sheriff's Department officer fighting with the woman about the bees.
This is just wild. This is America. like this is really what we have fallen down to is there is such a disrespect for your fellow people, the lack of humanizing those around you. The fact that she would try to weaponize bees in a colony that she is obviously caring for in an attempt because somehow, there's an overstepping, government action and agency, and the government's got to stop with their fascist, ATF agencies. It's just something. It's ludicrous. This is one of those moments where, as a New Yorker, you realize that our strategy of minding our business really has not been embraced by the rest of the country.
So listen to this level of crazy that played out. So while the eviction was being carried out, Woods pulled up to the driveway of the house in her SUV with apiaries stacked on her flatbed trailer. That's what they store bees in. She got out of her car, smashed the styrofoam top of one apiary, causing the bees to fly out and sting one deputy on the face and head. She then flipped another beehive shed off the flatbed, which caused the bees to grow angry and charge at multiple members of the sheriff's office. She then put on a beekeeper suit, and as she was attempting to move a hive closer to the front door of the house, that was when deputies arrested her.
God, I really hope that somebody punched her in the stomach. I hope somebody took out a baton and just cracked her on the back of the neck with it. The outrageous behavior of this woman. And I would have to say, people, tell me if you're wrong on this one in the comments right now. I'm going to say she votes the Republican.
That I couldn't tell you. But I can tell you that she has been charged with 7 counts of felony assault and 1 count of misdemeanor battery, and she has pled not guilty.
How do you plead not guilty? There's photographic evidence of it.
Well, you plead not guilty, and then you try and get some sort of plea bargain out of the deal, especially when you're facing 7 felonies. You just don't plead guilty to 7 felonies. That, I would imagine, would be an extensive amount of jail time.
I'm not a fan of what she did here. And as Janelle just points out here, that could actually be considered animal cruelty.
Oh.
Something tells me that this comment will be used multiple times before the end of the episode.
You don't say.
Do say.
What other stories do we have here? Oh, this was kind of a sad story, Brian. A college student who rented a plane for a date died after he accidentally walked into a propeller. This is down in Georgia. Georgia Southern University sophomore Sani Aliu he had rented a plane for a dinner date. They came back at the end of the date. On Sunday night, he got off the plane. They had gone to Savannah. They came back, and when he walked towards the front of the plane, he walked directly into the still moving propeller.
Yeah, that's bad news for this guy.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question.
Yes.
You're his date. I'm not going to pretend to assume the gender of this person.
Okay.
This person could be male. This person could be female. This person could be another gender where they don't answer, where they do not believe that they are either one of the 2 genders. They could be others. I'm not going to pretend. I'm just going to say they. I will anonymize their pronouns.
Sounds good.
How soon until this person, from a socially acceptable perspective, how soon is it acceptable for them to start dating again?
It's a tough call because it doesn't say, was this a first date? If this was a first date, I think, maybe you take the rest of the month off. and you hop back into it. If this was like, you know, the 5th or 6th date, you know, maybe you give it a month. So I don't have all the details involved. Again, it doesn't seem like, and again, maybe they were in a relationship and going on a date.
Right.
I think someone once told me it's however many years you were together, you should wait that number of months.
Got it.
Just a good rule of thumb for you
Okay.
kids out there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying follow it. I'm just saying,
Okay.
you know. What else we got here? We've got a former Yale Medical School official who was sentenced to 9 years.
9
for fraud.
years?
Yeah, for $40 million in fraud, in which saw her order computers for the department and then sell them to use the cash to fund a luxury lifestyle. A woman by the name of Jamie Petrone of Lithia Springs, Georgia, was sentenced. She pled guilty in March to this scam, where she would order millions of dollars of computer and electronic hardware for the school and then resell them. She would spend the money on luxury goods, cars, and travel. She had over 6 vehicles, including 2 Cadillac Escalades, and she also had to forfeit $560,000 seized from her company's bank account.
So she stole 40 million and only has 500 grand left.
And whatever those 6 vehicles are, but yes. So she has been doing this since at least 2013. She was director of finance and administration for the school's Department of Emergency Medicine. She would order these computers and the hardware for the school. She shipped the goods to a company that paid her and then resold them. And what she did, and this must have taken a lot of time, she made individual orders of under $10,000 because that way she wasn't required to seek additional approvals to get the sale to go through.
Listen, you're telling me $40 million in less than a decade, which means she's spending 400 grand a year on average for 10 straight years. No, that's not correct.
So
she was spending 4 million a year.
Yeah, that would be your math is better with the 4 million.
Yeah. She was spending $4 million a year on computer purchases. You know, part of me wants to, you know, obviously this woman belongs in jail. She needs to be punished.
Well,
but part of me wants to sit there and say, there should have been somebody watching that.
You would think
how
so.
does nobody understand $4 million worth of computer equipment goes missing? I mean, that's something on like a NASA or the Department of Defense wouldn't notice.
Well, in addition, she filed false federal tax returns from 2013 to 2016 and didn't file any returns from 2017 to 2020.
That's where she fucked up. That's where she fucked up.
That they say caused a loss to the government of more than $6.4 million.
The second you don't file taxes is when they start going after you.
Right.
What show was I watching earlier today where they were going after, where they caught somebody on tax evasion? I don't remember. It's not important here anymore. But it's the tax evasion is where they always get you.
That's where they fuck up. That's how they got Capone. That's how they got Al Capone.
Yeah. You know, they no longer have to prove that the crime was committed. All they have to show is that you had income, that you even illegally gained income. But if you don't declare it, that's how they get you. People, file honest taxes. This makes life a lot easier.
So in addition to her 109-month jail sentence, Petrone, she was ordered to pay full restitution on top of forfeiting that $560,000 and her 6 vehicles.
She's not going to be able to repay that fully.
No. I mean, there's someone who, you know, they've got as much chance of getting that money as the Sandy Hook families have from getting it from Alex Jones.
Ron, you brought up the idea last week. What are your thoughts about bringing back debtors' prisons?
You know, I think.
I mean,
I'm torn
think
on
about it this way: we are letting a lot of criminals who were found guilty on marijuana charges.
Right.
You know, Biden just recently announced that all federal criminals who had been arrested on marijuana charges, we're going to have those charges dropped. So if they were in prison, set free. That's a lot of prison space.
There is. I guess my concern there is you have a number of people in debt for no reason of their own. Like you have people that have fallen prey to, student loans and things of that nature. But yeah, I feel there needs to be some kind of punishment levied against people who steal, who are convicted. Who lose these tremendous judgments, and then there is no incentive whatsoever for them to try and make good. Again, you look at a woman like this, you look at someone like Alex Jones. Should there not be some sort of punishment if they are not able to, like, it's kind of like, they always like to say, like, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Like,
correct.
If you can't pay for the crime, then maybe you need to do time. Like maybe that needs to be the alternative. And I doubt, we'll ever see that kind of criminal justice reform. But it would be something interesting to look at.
Not with the woke politicians in charge of these individual state legislatures.
Right. Well, and plus, the people controlling the laws right now are also the people breaking the laws in a lot of cases. So they're certainly not going to put themselves in a position where they have to potentially do jail time if it ends up being them.
God, yeah, no, this is one of those quandaries where there really is no one-way answer here.
Right. I would agree with you on that. All right, what else we got here? We've got a cemetery in Naples that had some collapsing of their mausoleums. A 4-story cemetery building collapsed, leaving at least 24 coffins holding human remains dangling in air. Of course, we have a photo of that. Why wouldn't we? And so you can see this mausoleum-style building with the coffin still hanging down here. Authorities have closed down the cemetery, which was one of the oldest and largest cemeteries in South Italy, and they're starting to investigate the collapse in a marble building called the Resurrection.
I'm sorry, did you say Italy?
Italy, yes. This is Naples, Italy.
I thought this was Naples, Florida, and this was damage done by...
It was not. No, it was most definitely not Naples, Florida. Uh-oh, I think Brian froze up on us there. Well, we will carry on here and wait for Brian to unfreeze. Other stories we have here, we've got a deputy's sheriff who... I got to find the story here now. Brian threw me off here. He was arrested for sex with a teenager in a youth cadet program and has a photo that makes it seem like he is a sex offender. So let me share that real quick. All right, so this gentleman right here is a man by the name of Matthew Anderson, age 21. He was part of the Bay County Sheriff's Department down in Florida, and he admitted to sexual relations with a 17-year-old that he supervised in the department's youth cadet program, also including several sexual trysts while on duty. The agency said that he admitted to all of his crimes. He has since been placed on unpaid leave and is facing a sexual battery charge. The head of the program said he planned to meet with parents of other teens enrolled in the program to address any concerns they have stemming from the arrest. Billy asking the question, is Brian's freezing up due to Matt's coke habit not allowing him to manage the show? Very possibly, Brian. Brian, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. Who's to blame? Is it Matt's coke problem?
It's a voracious cocaine problem he has. We keep saying we're gonna do an intervention. You have the idea of doing it as an after dark behind the paywall, where we can have all of our patrons come on to describe to Matt why his cocaine problem and how it's affected the show. Clearly, this is an example that I will have to bring up to him.
More problematic than Matt's coke habit is Billy Ray Cyrus. Would you not agree, Brian?
It always feels like he's one of those guys that's just trying to be younger than he really is. Has he done something wacky recently? Jesus Christ, what is going on there?
So, well, I mean, I guess in a way, congratulations are in order. He announced he and his girlfriend, a woman by the name of Fire Rose, announced their
Is her
engagement.
first name Fire Rose or last name Fire Rose?
It's all it says is Fire Rose, all one word. So Billy Ray is 61 now. I mean, doesn't look bad for 61 years old. I think you have to give him at least credit with that. Marrying a woman, somewhat younger. Her age is not confirmed, but I think I'm going to say she's probably at least 20 years younger than him, which is fine. When I'm in my 60s, I plan on dating younger women too.
Oh no, her name is Fire Rose. She's
a
singer.
You thought I was lying to you.
I thought that was just like a nickname or whatnot.
No.
She seems way too young.
Well, and to your point earlier, like Billy I'm not sure what's going on with the hair there.
The hair is wild. I've got another photo. I'm going to copy image address. I'm putting this one in the private chat.
Okay.
Where we're going in the private chat. But he really seems to be embracing a Rob Zombie look, if you would. I feel like here's an example of a man who should be embracing his age. Rather, like, what is going on here? First off, she looks like she's in college.
I feel like she's older than a college student. But again, that's probably just because she's standing next to Billy Ray. I think Billy Ray would make us look young at this point if we were standing next to him.
Well, I mean, he looks at least 12 years younger than us.
So the engagement came as a surprise to many fans due to the fact that Cyrus's wife, Tish Cyrus, only filed for a divorce from the country star 6 months ago.
Oh, so you think that he was cheating on her?
I don't know. So apparently, according to the divorce filing, Tish said that the pair hadn't lived together since February of 2020. So it seems like they've been separated for an extended period of time. So this relationship could have been going on for a couple of years at this point.
This is bad. I mean, can somebody please save him?
You loved it.
Brian,
you
inappropriate.
Loved it.
Inappropriate.
Oh,
Brian.
Speaking of you loved it, congrats to Kevin Spacey, who was determined not to be part of the Hollywood liberal pedophile community, found innocent earlier this week of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old boy a decade ago.
I mean, it seems problematic that he was he will not be he was cleared. I don't know why. It just seems like he admitted to inappropriate behavior, even though he didn't because he didn't remember it because he had been drinking, but he apologized for whatever had happened. Just I don't know. It just it's not funny, Janelle. You shouldn't be laughing.
It's not funny, Janelle, whatsoever. And not only that, but apparently Johanna also thought it was funny.
Wow.
I mean, just it's not.
So
not okay, people. Not okay.
So Anthony Rapp had been suing Kevin Spacey for $40 million in this civil case. We'll see nothing from that.
You don't pronounce his last name Rape?
I do not, and I don't believe he does either.
I thought the E at the end was silent, the R-A-P-P-E.
There is no E, it's R-A-P-P.
Oh.
Yeah, I can see where that would be confusing for you.
Pardon me, I was wrong on that one.
Let's see, James Corden being hit with cancel culture. Finally, I think we've all been waiting for that. But he apparently was banned from the New York City restaurant Balthazar for being an abusive customer. Brian, you're there in New York City. You ever go to Balthazar?
No, I've never been there.
Okay.
I always gave me douche vibes.
So are you saying it's an appropriate location for James Corden then?
Of course. It always got me the vibe of like, you're being judged the second you walk in there on your clothing, on your accent, on which credit card you're using, which fork you're using, things like that.
So the restaurant owned by Keith McNally, who commented on James Corden, calling him a, quote, tiny cretin of a man, and banning him because he was abusive to staff members, things of that nature. But what I thought was hilarious was the number of stories that then came out of people just really commenting on what a huge piece of shit James Corden is.
See, this is the thing about James Corden is I never I first off have no idea who he was when he started his CBS show.
Right.
I know now, look at in terms of knowledge, he had a show in England and was considered a presenter over there of some level of success before he he started a show here. But I had no idea who he was. I actually thought he seemed like a likable guy, or he played a likable character on his show.
Right.
But then I just started to find him kind of annoying, where it was unrelatable. Seemed to be really he would fan out on so many different celebrities,
Right.
where it seemed like he was a lapdog to whichever celebrity was bigger in the room. And then I felt his what was it the karaoke in the car that he did?
Yeah, the carpool karaoke, which was clever when it first started.
I was going to say, much like the rest of this country, the first couple of times I saw it, I found it very entertaining. But then once again, it's just like he just became so desperate to to fawn over these Hollywood celebrities that I lost interest in him. Realizing that he is here we go. William Esquire. Corden's a B-level British celebrity. I only know of him because he appeared on an episode of Doctor Who. Ironically, I wonder whether this was one of the newer episodes where Doctor Who was played by a female actress, because I know for a fact William Esquire said that was the worst season of Doctor Who.
Ooh.
And that he would not be returning as a viewer to that show until
bad luck.
Doctor Who was played by a male actor. I was quite surprised that William Esquire would say that he's not. Generally, I would say that he is, an embracer.
Usually, I would say so.
Of forward progress by society, But I remember he would always, retweet Doctor Who posts, hashtag not my Doctor Who. Really offensive.
I remember when he used the hashtag my doctor has a penis, and that really got conflicted with some other things that were online at the time. But I think
Sure,
I
sure.
hope he learned his lesson. That's all I can say.
Yes, exactly.
Also, cancel culture coming after Bill Murray. And this one stings a bit because obviously I think you and I both we're both big fans of Bill Murray. But it would seem that his on-set, behind the camera behavior, not good. There was an issue earlier this year on a Disney Searchlight medical drama called Being Mortal, when he was accused of attempting to kiss a much younger woman on set. He reportedly paid the woman more than $100,000 to keep the details of the incident to herself and to stop from suing the film's producers. But now apparently this is starting kind of a groundswell of stories that are starting to come out about the on-set behavior, where Murray apparently has said women are there to be flirted and hit on. He would hit on any woman. He was, sources say that he was very hands-on, very touchy, trying to do it in a comedic way, but I don't know that necessarily makes a difference.
No, not at all. I mean, do you have a difficulty separating the human from the roles that the actor plays?
Well, what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, I remember you were celebrating when Salman Rushdie got stabbed just a couple of months back. You were saying that he needed to pay the price for insulting Islam and writing a fictitious characterization of.
Go on. I'd love to hear this.
Fuck! I just had a mental block of who is the. Oh man, they're gonna of a sacred part of the Islamic religion, Muhammad.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Should have gotten that about 12 minutes ago. But you were celebrating that. And I think, you read some stories afterwards, where it seemed, he had been, quite a philanderer, didn't really respect his first wife. Yet still people, were shocked when Salman Rushdie had been, stabbed in the neck multiple times.
How do we go from Bill Murray to Salman Rushdie? I'm not.
I read an article about Salman Rushdie right before we did this show. Apparently, he's lost one eye and the use of one arm.
Well, all right. I don't know how to respond to that, except to tell everybody that while this podcast may be wrapping up shortly, we will be moving to our After Dark at 9:30 for our Patreon subscribers. If you are not a Patreon subscriber yet, we encourage you to go to ronandbrianpodcast.com. Click in the upper right-hand corner to become a patron. For the bronze level, just $10 a month, you get access to the live After Dark taking place in the next 25 minutes. We'll be going live with that. But next week, dare we say, next week, it's the Ron and Brian Halloween Spooktacular. It'll be the night before Halloween. Things might get spooky. They might get scary. And then next Sunday after is our pajama party. That's right. The last Sunday of every month, we invite our Patreon subscribers onto the show with us for a very special Halloween-themed After Dark. Will we have another Can You Beat Ron next Sunday night is the question, Brian.
Will be announced during this week.
All right, fantastic. Brian, I think it's a good time to wrap this up. Head on over to After Dark so that we can get to the saucier stories of the week.
Sure.
Anything else before we wrap up this show?
Not at all. This was episode 229. People have already started to reach out to us to say, what do we have planned for episode 250? People, it is conversations have already started. We are in the process. Lining up some celebrity guests. Will Kreskin be returning? I can't confirm or deny that, but it's going to be special. We still have a couple months to plan for it. It's going to be very exciting.
Yes, it will. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody joining this evening. Patreon folks, we will see you in a little bit. Everyone else, we will catch you next Sunday night.
Thank you for joining us on the Ron and Brian podcast. We're live each week on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can find prior episodes, links to our social media, and everything else Ron and Brian at ronandbrianpodcast.com. See you again